evening, ladies and gentlemen. The Smithtown Planning Board is now in session. Adam, will you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. The first item on the agenda, the Planning Department recommends the following items for adjournment as we have insufficient information to act upon them. Part 1, Item 1, number 2011-01, All Seasons Motor Lodge. Item 2, number 2012-04, Storybook Homes. Item 3, number 2012-02, Carlson Associates. Item 4, number 2009-05, FB4 Realty. Item 5, number 773, Scholar Estates. Item 6, the 280A application of Olivia Estates. Part 2, Item 7, number 2010-06, KVC Holdings. Item 8, number 911A, Glen Hill Northern. Mr. Chairman, these are the items the Planning Department recommends for adjournment.
Is there anybody here that wishes to be heard on those items to be adjourned? Hearing none, a motion.
Motion to adjourn the matters that were just read.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Mr. Chairman, the next item on the agenda under Part 2, Part 3, Item 9, number 1136 Hummingbird Estates. The applicant is requesting a 90-day extension of the conditional final approval.
Wait, hold on a minute. Are you all set there, Mary Ellen?
What is it? Is there a microphone?
Excuse me, they want to check that. Okay? All right.
Okay. I'll begin again. The applicant is requesting a 90-day extension of the conditional final approval in order to obtain more time to comply with the requirements of posting the performance bond and filing the map. The map of Hummingbird Estates number 1136 was granted conditional final approval by the Planning Board on November 2nd, 2011. The board granted the applicant 2 retroactive 90-day extensions of the final approval on March 6, 2013, that expire on May 2nd. The applicant is requesting the extension because the map will not be signed and filed with the Suffolk County Clerk by the May 2nd deadline. The Planning Department has no objection to the applicant's request. The Planning Department offers the following resolution for the board's consideration. Be it resolved that the Planning Board hereby grants a 90-day extension of time to the conditional final approval for the subdivision known as Map of Hummingbird Estates, number 1136, from May 2nd, 2013 to August 2nd, 2013, subject to the following condition. The applicant shall file a restrictive covenant for lots number 1 and 3 on a form acceptable to the town attorney that acknowledges that Branglebrink Road is not a dedicated street and not maintained by the town of Smithtown. As a note to the board, on April 23rd, the town attorney's office has approved the wording and form of the proposed covenant.
Thank you. Is there anyone here representing the applicant?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Anthony Guardino. I'm a partner with the law firm of Farrell Fritz in Uniondale, New York. I represent the applicant, Hummingbird Holdings. I don't have much to add to the statement that was read by Mr. Donadio with respect to the extension. As he mentioned, there was an extension granted retroactively, but it expires on May 2nd, tomorrow. We are in the process of trying to finalize the covenants and restrictions that are required by the Suffolk County Department of Health Services before we can file, or before I can present the map to you for signature. And then I also have the complicating factor is that I also have to go to the Village of Nessaquag to get the chairman of that board to sign, and there are some covenants that are required at the village level. So we really could use the time, well, we need the time. We won't be able to get it to you before tomorrow for signature, and nor are we in a position to have it signed. So we absolutely need this extension, and we would respectfully request that the board grant that extension. But with respect to the covenant, I just have a question. The language that was read seemed to be different than what was agreed to by the town attorney's office. So I just would ask perhaps that Mr. Donadio can read it again for me.
Well, would you, is there a problem with that?
Would you like me to
With
read it again?
the
Yeah,
way
if you could.
The applicant shall file a restrictive covenant for lots 1 and 3 on a form acceptable to the town attorney that acknowledges that Branglebrink Road is not a dedicated street and not maintained by the town of Smithtown.
And why is that different than what
Well,
the,
On the correspondence from Mr. Guardino to Mr.
Yes.
Zolo dated April 18th, 2013, there's language that you put in.
Yeah.
Is that what you're referring to?
well, that's what I'm referring to, and I received a response from Mr. Zolo after I sent this letter to him saying that the language is fine. And
Okay.
more importantly, we were not going to file a restrictive covenant. What we were agreeing to do is to place in the deeds the language, so that, because the concern of the planning department was that a prospective purchaser could acquire the property and then come after the town saying, how come you're not maintaining the road? And this was meant to put them on notice. But we never discussed recording a covenant, because that encumbers title. You know, and obviously that impacts the marketability of title.
That's what this correspondence says.
Is that the way you'd like to read it in?
Yeah.
why don't you read that into the
Okay.
minutes, and then we can discuss it there if anybody on the board.
Okay. The following language will be placed upon the deeds for lot numbers 1 and 3. By accepting this deed, the grantee hereby acknowledges that the parcel conveyed herein fronts on a road known as Branglebrink Road that is not maintained by the town of Smithtown.
That's fine. That's
Any
what was
questions
agreed
by the
to.
board?
Let's do the motion as amended.
Is there anybody in the audience that wishes to speak on this application? No questions from the board, a motion, please.
In the matter of the extension of final approval for the subdivision known as map of Hummingbird Estates, number 1136, motion to adopt the resolution as amended in accordance with the recommendation of the planning department.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Terrific. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, please.
All right. Mr. Chairman, the next item on the agenda under Part 3, Item 10, number 1123, Samantha Estates. The applicant is requesting a 90-day extension of the conditional final approval in order to obtain more time to comply with the requirements of posting the performance bond and filing the map. The map of Samantha Estates, number 1123, was granted conditional final approval by the Planning Board on May 5th, 2010. The board granted the applicant 8 retroactive 90-day extensions of the final approval on April 3rd, 2013, that expire on May 5th. The applicant is requesting the extension because the map will not be signed and filed with the Suffolk County Clerk by the May 5th deadline. The Planning Department has no objection to the applicant's request. The Planning Department offers the following resolution for the board's consideration. Be it resolved that the Planning Board hereby grants a 90-day extension of time to the conditional final approval for the subdivision known as Map of Samantha Estates, number 1123, beginning May 5th, 2013 through August 5th, 2013.
Is there anybody here representing the applicant?
I don't have anything to add. I do have an affidavit of posting and a
Why don't you
photograph.
give the affidavit opposing to Mr. DeRuis?
Thomas Persicelli, I'm the attorney for the applicant.
Okay.
Your address, sir?
Persicelli, 2137 Deer Park Avenue, Deer Park, New York. Persichilli. Thank you.
And you accept the conditions of the extension?
Yes.
Okay. Is there anyone here from the audience that wishes to speak on this application? Hearing none, any motion by the board?
In the matter of Samantha Estates, number 1123, I move that we adopt the resolution as read in accordance with the recommendation of the planning department.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. Thank you. You're welcome. Right now.
Mr. Chairman, the next item on the agenda under Part 3, Item 11, number 1151, Southern Boulevard Industrial Park. The applicant is requesting final approval to subdivide a 2-acre partially developed parcel into 2 commercial lots. In order to approve this subdivision, a variance from the Board of Zoning Appeals to reduce the minimum lot area from 87,120 square feet to 80,720 square feet due to environmentally sensitive land, slopes in excess of 15% for lot number 2 was required. The board approved a recommendation to the BZA to reduce the minimum lot area for lot number 2 at the March 6, 2013 Planning Board meeting. Subsequently, an application was made to the BZA for the variance and was approved by that board on April 9, 2013. A copy of that resolution is attached to your memorandum. The final map of Southern Boulevard Industrial Park, number 1151, is comprised from 1 tax lot that is rectangular in shape. There is an existing 5,870 square foot medical office building on the proposed lot number 1, and the applicant is proposing future construction of a 5,580 square foot building on the proposed lot number 2. The property has 611 feet of road frontage on Southern Boulevard. The site is surrounded by property zoned wholesale service industry, 20,000 square feet minimum, and light industrial, 80,000 square feet minimum. The proposal appears to meet the definition of a planned industrial park as outlined in section 322-24 of the town code. The elevation ranges from 112 feet to 129 feet above sea level. The depth of groundwater is more than 10 feet, and no problems are anticipated with regard to groundwater. The site does not contain any wetland, escarpment, or natural surface water features. The property is partially wooded to the north. The proposal appears to comply with the standards of the Suffolk County Sanitary Code with respect to sewage flow and septic system setbacks for a commercial office building. The engineering, highway, and traffic safety departments recommend approval. A performance bond is not required for this application. The following resolution is recommended for Southern Boulevard Industrial Park from the Department of Environment and Waterways pursuant to the State Environmental Quality Review Act. Be it resolved that the Planning Board of the Town of Smithtown hereby declares itself lead agency on this matter and finds that this matter is subject to the State Environmental Quality Review Act and is classified as an unlisted action pursuant to SECRA. And be it resolved that the Planning Board of the Town of Smithtown, after due study and deliberation of the subject record, does hereby issue a SECRA negative declaration, determination of non-significance, and environmental impact statement is not necessary in the matter of the application for subdivision approval by 55 Southern Boulevard LLC for Southern Boulevard Industrial Park, number 1151, for the following reasons. A, the proposal does not appear to significantly threaten any unique or highly valuable environmental or cultural resources as identified in or regulated by the Environmental Conservation Law of the State of New York or the Smithtown Town Code. B, the parcel does not appear to suffer from any severe environmental development constraints, no poor soil properties, no high groundwater, and no unmanageable slopes. C, the small size and nature of the proposal mitigate against a significant adverse impact upon the environment. And D, the proposal appears to be consistent with the planned use of the parcel and compatible with neighboring land uses. The Planning Department recommends approval and offers the following resolution for the board's consideration. Be it resolved that the final plat of Southern Boulevard Industrial Park, number 1151, is hereby approved subject to the following conditions. Mr. Chairman, conditions A through D are standard conditions placed on all subdivision approvals. Condition E is specific to this application. The final map to be signed by the Planning Board Chairman and filed with the Suffolk County Clerk shall be revised to reflect the conditions stated in the Highway Superintendent's Memorandum dated December 11th, 2012, and attached sketch. And be it further resolved that the Chairman of the Planning Board is hereby authorized to sign the final plat, thereby approving said plat. And be it further resolved that the conditional approval of said final plat shall expire 180 days after the date of this resolution, and within 90 days after the Chairman of the Planning Board signs the final maps of this plat, unless said plat shall have been duly filed or recorded by the owner in the office of the Suffolk County Clerk.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Vincent Pizzulli with offices at 333 Earl Ovington Boulevard in Uniondale for the applicant 55 Southern Boulevard LLC. I'd like to thank the Planning Department and join in their recommendation for approval this evening. This board has heard this application on March 6th and graciously granted a recommendation of the variances which the Board of Zoning Appeals has approved. My client, the principal of my client is Dr. Richard Sabinski, a resident of the town of St. James. He is also the owner and the practitioner of primary medical care on the subject property. We're proposing to subdivide the property to create a future lot. There are no development plans proposed at this time. Thank you.
You're welcome. Is there anybody here in the audience to speak on this application? Would you please come to the microphone and give your name and address, please?
Maureen McCarthy, 65 Southern Boulevard, Wisconsin.
Okay. No, we don't do,
Not
we
here?
don't do that.
Wrong meeting.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm here because I reside within 200 feet of the applicant's property. I have resided in Wisconsin since birth and for 36 years on Southern Boulevard. I am intimately familiar with the area and its history. As I understand it, the application for a subdivision of 1.96 acres was approved at the March 2013 meeting. I assume that the April 2013 meeting then approved the variance requests. So instead of maintaining the 2-acre zone minimum zoning as others do, this applicant can build on 1-acre environmentally sensitive land. Now, on May 1st, the case is before the Planning Board. It is apparent that this case is on the fast track. I attended the 4/9/13 meeting before the Board of Zoning Appeals. I mentioned then that I had reviewed the applicant's environmental assessment form received by the Town of Smithtown Planning and Development Department on November 2nd, 2012, and that there were errors on B, 2C, and D, and number 6. Basically, these questions deal with the surrounding area and zoning. I'm tired of being labeled vacant, as are the other 7 homes. I was wondering if the form has been corrected or resubmitted. It just seems like anything goes on Southern Boulevard. My neighbors call it the road of the done deal. I wonder what the applicant's neighbors would say in St. James if he wanted to build on 1-acre environmentally sensitive land where they all have 2-acre zoning. The applicant's existing office building could be expanded without any variances, subdivisions, or affecting the environmentally sensitive land. It would be more cost-effective. It seems everything is being prepared for a sale, but to whom and for what purpose? Building on half the acreage that the others maintain increases the density and traffic. The town of Smithtown paid over $1.5 million to cash in prior to the reconstruction of Southern Boulevard, and you just disregard its contents. The cash-in design report, substantiated by the Suffolk County Police Department reports, emphasized the high rate of accidents at the Southern Boulevard and Route 347 intersections. It further stated that, open quotation, the Route 25 and Southern Boulevard intersection is critical to the ability of Southern Boulevard to carry the projected traffic volumes. This intersection forms an offset intersection with Arlington Avenue, providing storage for only 2 Southern Boulevard northbound cars turning left to proceed westbound on Route 25. Close quotation. They concluded by stating, open quotation, it is short-sighted to encourage traffic to Southern Boulevard without addressing the critical constraint, close quotation. I attended the lumberyard meeting where the plan for a second road from Southern Boulevard to Route 25 was discussed. Two roads carrying traffic to Route 25, a short distance from each other, is a disaster waiting to happen. Currently, you have tractor trailers carrying lumber, pipes, tanks, etc., along with cars entering and exiting the medical offices. Many of these people are very sick. They are in wheelchairs and crutches exiting private vehicles. Others are transported by ambulance. The Suffolk County Police Department and ambulance is called every week to transport a critically ill person to the hospital. You have already created a very dangerous traffic situation. There will soon be a fatality. The residential homes are the only ones that generate no traffic and provide relief from the other uses. Despite residing quietly in our homes for decades, we are still harassed by some of our business counterparts. They feel empowered by the favors you grant them and the off-the-cuff comments. A good public servant serves the community and does what is best for them. I rearrange my life and work schedule in order to attend these meetings in hope of some positive outcome. At the April 9, 2013 meeting, I requested that the code be addressed as it pertains to illuminated signage and lighting at night. Could you ask the applicant why his business signs remain on all night? Thank you.
You're welcome. Is there anybody else that wishes to talk on this application? Members of the board, any questions? A motion for a secret negative on the application.
In the matter of Southern Boulevard Industrial Park, number 1151, motion to approve the secret negative declaration in accordance with the recommendation of the Planning Department.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. A motion there on the final map.
In the matter of the final plat of Southern Boulevard Industrial Park, number 1151, motion to adopt the resolution as read in accordance with the recommendation of the Planning Department.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. We thank you. All right. We have a correspondence from Given Associates here on the Stony Brook. I think all the members got a copy of that.
Do you have any idea when we're going to be asked to rule on this, or when? Or
What the
advise?
applicant asked for was an adjournment so that he could put together several analysis. One of them was a property valuation, which you have. I believe he is also putting together another study with regard to impact on schools. I think the fact that you received something is indication that he is proceeding on this.
There's a little bit of that in this. I just glanced at it, but there's a little bit about the schools.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to know, and I brought this up before, and if there's any way the planning department or the applicant could get information about the closest apartment complexes in terms of the vacancy rates.
We tried. And quite frankly, the numbers that we have, and we did also do the suggestions. We looked at the online, what was available online from the real estate firms, and what we were getting was very low vacancy rates in the neighborhood of around 2% in that particular area. We think that that number is unusually low because a typical apartment will be about 6%. The ones in Smithtown have traditionally been about somewhere between 2% and 6%. So the most that we have found is about 2%. But keep in mind that the apartments that we are looking at, most of the apartments that are immediate area are very small complexes. So they tend to be more efficient in terms of their capacity. We did get numbers from Avalon, which is basically 4.5%. But
Wasn't that owned by the, is that owned by the applicant? Or
No,
not? Oh,
Avalon is
okay.
the one up by the water mill.
Okay.
The one owned by the applicant, he only had 2 vacancies at the time.
And what,
That was,
what percentage was that?
that was, it was 45 units, 2 units, so figure that's 4%.
Okay, and how many units are in Avalon?
Avalon is 350,
And there's a 4%?
yes. But that's typical for, there's always a turnover. So there's always apartments, and they usually hold them for a while because they renovate, clean them, or whatever. So it's, that's normally typical.
Is he going to do a traffic study as he recommended in here?
I believe he is as well, yes. Mhm. However, it's the board's discretion as to, you know, he asked you permission. If the board wants to tell him to have a deadline date, that's your prerogative.
Frank,
I
if you would
don't see-
introduce, oh, excuse me.
I don't see any
Go
reason
ahead.
to put the guy in a deadline if it's his application.
Okay.
I'd
Frank,
ask
is
you to
he-
introduce the gentleman that's going to take,
Yes, this is Alec Wallach. He's a Smithtown resident, lives in Comac. Is in Comac off of Harnett Road. Has a degree from Columbia University in planning, master's degree. And we are happy to have him on board. And he'll be taking over for Blaze. Although I'm going to still have Blaze work with the telecommunication because Blaze is still has that down very well. So but on all other forms, Alex will be taking over. Okay.
Chairman, I have one question, if I
Sure.
go ahead.
may. On the apartment complex, is he planning any other improvements other than the residential units, a laundry room or any other facility on site?
No, only, well, we don't know, only what he described to us in his original application. That could change, however, that was conceptual, what he proposed. Okay. For the board's edification, I would notice that the testimony, I am going to report, Ms. McCarthy was correct about the lighting, and I'm going to put a complaint into public safety with regard to that. The lighting is required by law to be shut off after the office closes, after 1 hour afterwards, so I am going to report that.
And
Okay.
check that out and
Yeah.
remedy it?
Mm-hmm.
That'll be in the recommendation to the site plan review.
Well, I will take care, I will notify the applicant's attorney, but all professional businesses are required to shut off their lights 1 hour after close of business. That's the code. Okay?
Thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions by the board? Motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered.
Okay.